Hello students, welcome back to the video lecture series of engineering graphics. In my last video, I have given you the syllabus and also the scheme of examination. I have also given you the list of instruments that are required for doing the sketching, and you are also told about the software that is being used in the lab for drafting. We are using Solid Edge version 2020 in our lab. So these are the things that are required for you to do the sketching as well as drafting. So today's class, I have taken up drawing number 1. You can see here, it is drawing number 1. The title is Basic Geometry Constructions. This of course is not a part of your syllabus, but when we start with the actual syllabus, whatever we are going to do today will be of use to you. So that is the reason why it is being done in under drawing number 1. As I already mentioned in my last video, there are going to be 18 drawings in total. Some of them could be assignments and some would be classwork. So all of them put together will come to 18 drawings. So today's is drawing number 1, basic geometry constructions. What are we going to do in this? In this we are going to draw various polygons starting from a triangle and ending with a hexagon in various positions. Okay. So you are going to use your instruments, drawing instruments, and make these sketches in your sketchbook. So if it is going to be online classes like this only, normally what I do is, I have already mentioned in my last video, this will be given as an assignment to you, and you will be normally given 1 week's time to submit the assignment. So let us start with the geometry constructions. As I proceed, you have to do the sketching as well as drafting. Sketching is manually done, drafting is done using a software. I will also be mentioning wherever required about the software as well. Okay. Now, when you use a software, why should we use the software and what are its advantages? When you use a software, the accuracy would be more than what you get using a manual drawing. That is one thing. The second is the time consumption. Okay, the time consumption would be very less when you use a software to get a required sketch. Now, when you practice in the sketching, the procedure that you adopt for the sketching may not be same always when you use a software. So these things also I will be telling you wherever it is required. Okay. So what I would like to mention is, when you are making a sketch manually, the procedure that is adopted may not be the same when you use a software, because there what matters is the time. Okay. So what is the best method for you to finish a drawing in a short time is what we look for there. Okay. So but manually there is no other go. Manually it may take a little more time than when you compare it with a drafting using software. Okay. So this is what I want to clarify before I start my drawings today. Okay. Now basic geometry constructions. What is the first exercise? The first exercise is this. Let us say you are given a line of length 70 mm and I want to divide into 6 equal parts. 70 mm is the length of the line. Normally, all the dimensions that we use in engineering graphics will be in millimeters, not in centimeters. So, you are going to see that. So, I have a line of length 70 mm and I want to divide into 6 equal parts. If you have a line of length 70 mm and you want to divide into 7 equal parts, you can easily do it using your scale itself. Just align your scale with the line and mark the division points using the scale. That is done. But here the exercise is to divide a 70 mm line into 6 equal parts. You can't do it using a scale. So what is to be done? We do some geometry construction to complete the exercise. This is how it is done. Let us say this is the line, the horizontal line. Let us say the length of the line is 70 mm. These are the tips of the line. Now I will be also simultaneously will be talking about the types of lines as I proceed. So here I will write down types of lines. The first one is main line. Main line is drawn as a thick line. When I say thick line, when you use the software, the thickness that is used is 0.5 mm. The thickness or the width for the line used is 0.5 mm. If you want to draw a line, there is a command in the Solid Edge software. It is called line command. Once you click that line command, you have an option to choose the thickness or the width of the line. So if you want to draw a main line, you go to that line command, select the line command, and then select the width as 0.5 mm. Okay. So this line is drawn using a 0.5 mm thick line. Manually, what do? Manually, you just use a scale. You use a scale and a pencil to draw this line. Yes. So this is a line of 70 mm length. Okay. Now I am going to dimension this line. Okay. The lines that is used to dimension this line is called as dimension line. The dimension line has to be a thin line, and the thickness that you use is 0.13 mm when you use the software. Okay. So let me show how to dimension this line. You know, these are the two tips. At each tip you are going to draw a perpendicular. These perpendiculars should also be thin lines. Okay. This is a thick line, and these two perpendiculars, this angle should be 90. This is also 90. Okay. These two angles have to be 90 degrees. So you can use a protractor, mark 90 degrees, draw those two lines. So these two lines are called extension lines. They are thin. I am just writing down here extension line. Extension line should also be a thin line. So you are going to use 0.13 mm. The extension line will come and touch this tip of the line here. It will just touch. Now once you draw the extension lines, now I am going to draw the dimension line. The dimension line should be exactly parallel to this main line. Okay. So draw a line parallel to the main line. They both should be parallel, but the dimension line will be a thin line. Okay. Even when you draw manually, of course you may be using the same pencil. When it was only manual drawing, a lot of importance was given for this dimensioning. So the students used to use either 2B lead or HB lead for drawing the main line. So 2B lead or HB lead will give you the dark lines. Whereas for drawing the dimension line, students used to use either H or 2H lead. That will be very light in when you draw it. Okay. But here what you do is you can use the same pencil, whether you are using a 2B lead or HB lead, but you can manage varying the thickness by varying the pressure with which you draw. Okay. So the main line you can draw it using more pressure, whereas the dimension line can be drawn using less pressure. So that is how you can show the difference. But it is very important that you show the difference in thickness when you do it manually. Okay, that comes by practice. So I don't recommend you using two different pencils for drawing the main line and dimension line. The same pencil or the same lead can be used, but varying the pressure with which you draw. Okay, now what should be the gap between the main line and dimension line is a question. The minimum gap has to be 5 mm. It can't be, less than that. They should not be too close to each other. This you must take care. Okay. Then we draw what are called arrowheads at the end of the line to show that that is the end of the line. And the arrowheads have to be shaded inside like this. Even the shading should not be too dark. Okay. The shading should not be made too dark. It should be done light. And the length of the dimension line is 70, as I already mentioned. So you just write 70, preferably at the middle of the line. So we are not going to write mm there. It is understood the dimension is in millimeters. Okay. So this is how the dimensioning is done. Let me repeat it once again, because the dimensioning is very, very important in your engineering graphics. It is very important because in the examination, as I already told you, there will be an internal examiner and there will be an external examiner. Normally, we, the internal examiners, will support our students, but the external examiner will always try to, pick up a mistake that you have done. So you should not give any scope for the examiner to cut marks. The examiner may sometimes say, no, the dimensioning is not done properly, I will reduce 1 mark. You shouldn't give scope for that. Okay. So the dimensioning is very important. It should be given utmost importance. So what are the the precautions that are taken during the dimensioning? I would like to repeat again. After drawing the main line, you have drawn extension lines. So the extension line should be drawn thin. They are perpendicular to the main line. They are drawn at the tips of the line. And make sure that the extension lines are drawn thin. Now, why are they called extension lines? There is a reason for that. Let us say you have made a big drawing. Maybe you have drawn the drawing of a machine. The mechanical students will do machine drawing in their 3rd semester. Let us say you have drawn a machine, big drawing of a machine. Sometimes you may, let us say this is a big drawing. In this there is one line which you want to dimension. Normally the dimensioning is done outside. We don't do it inside as far as possible. So I will be extending these lines outward like this. So the extension line can be extended to any length that you require. Okay, and then maybe I will draw the dimension line somewhere here. Okay, and then I write 30 or whatever it is. So they have been extended to the extent that is required. That is why the name extension lines. Okay, but make sure this angle is 90. And also you should make sure the dimension line and the main line are parallel to each other. That is why I have told you to use a rotoscale. You can just, if this is the rotoscale, you can just roll it like this and then draw the parallel line wherever it is required. It's easy, quite easy when you use a rotoscale to draw a parallel line. So that is the reason why they are called as extension lines. Now coming to the dimension line, as I told you, the minimum gap has to be 5 mm. It can be any distance not less than 5 mm, the gap between the main line and dimension line. And the dimension line should be perfectly parallel to the main line. That's also important. Coming to the arrowheads, I'll just make it big and show to you here. Let us say this is an arrowhead. Okay, the arrowhead has to be shaded inside. The shading has to be done light. It should not be made dark. If it is made too dark, it appears awkward on the drawing sheet. Okay. Now, what should be the proportions making this arrowhead? If this width is x the length has to be 3x. So these are the proportions of an arrowhead. Okay. What I mean to say is, you shouldn't make them equal. The length and width should not be made equal like this. It should not be made. The length has to be more always, at least 3 times this. Now you may get a doubt, what should be the size of the arrowhead? The proportion is fine. What should be the size? The size of the arrowhead has to be proportional to the length of the dimension line. I repeat again, the size of the arrowhead has to be proportional to the length of the dimension line. It comes by practice. For example, if this is a dimension line and if I put this much of arrowhead on both sides, it's too big. For the size of the dimension line that we have, the arrowhead is too big and it looks awkward. Okay? So, for a small dimension line, a small arrowhead is enough. That's enough. Similarly, as you increase the length, the size of the dimension line also can be proportionately increased. This is what I want to say. Okay? Even the proportion, you don't have to measure and keep it there. This x and 3x I was telling you, you don't have to measure that. Okay? Only make sure that the length is taken more. This is the width of the arrowhead. The length has to be more. That is what I want to say. You don't have to measure it and keep it there. It's not required. But make sure the shading is light. And one more important thing is, if this is the extension line, the arrowhead, when you draw a dimension line, it can't be like this. There shouldn't be any gap in between. The arrowhead should go and touch the extension line. That's also very important. Then, coming to this 70. When you write 70, please write it neatly. Don't scribble like what you do on your notebook. Okay? And also make sure it is sitting on the line. It should touch the dimension line. When you write 70, see if it is, let us say it is 20, so I can't write like this. Okay? Write it as close as possible to the dimension line. So these are all some of the precautions that you should take while doing the dimensioning. Okay? So what all I was told to you so far regarding the dimensioning? If this is the main line, you have got 2 tips. At each tip you have drawn an extension line perpendicular to the main line. Then you have drawn a dimension line exactly parallel to the main line, making sure the gap is maintained minimum 5 mm. And then the extension lines and of course the dimension line both are made thin. Then you have put 2 arrowheads, making sure the arrowhead touches the extension line, and also you have made sure that the length of the arrow head is made more compared to the width. The approximate proportion is x and 3x. If the width is x, the length has to be 3x. And shade it inside. The shading has to be light. Then you write the dimension on top of the line. So this is about the dimensioning. So far what we have used is main line, the types of lines. We have used a main line which has to be thick. The dimension line is a thin line. The extension line which is also a thin line. Now, coming to the exercise, you want to divide this into 6 equal parts. How to do that? Definitely you can't do it using a scale. 70 by 6 is a fraction. Now, what to do? What to do is, you go to this tip of the line. We are doing some construction here. So I am going to draw some construction lines. The construction lines also have to be thin. We call them as construction lines. It should be a thin line. So you are using 0.13 mm when you use the software. Now how is the construction done? I am going to draw a line inclined at any acute angle to the main line. When I say acute angle, any angle less than 90 degrees. This is a construction line, so you have made it thin. Now how many divisions you want to divide this into? 6 divisions, 6 parts. Now you align your scale with this line like this. Take your scale here, align it with this line. Then you mark 6 equal divisions on this line. Each division can be of any length of your choice. You can take it 5 mm or 10 mm. Let us say I have taken each 10 mm. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Let us say each division is taken 10. So I have marked 6 equal divisions on this line. Now this is the 6th division point. So this division point will be connected with the tip of the line using a construction line. So all the lines that I am drawing here are construction lines and should be made light. This is the only line that should appear dominating when you complete the exercise. All the remaining lines should appear faint. They should be light. Okay. Now once you get this line, use your rotoscale. Then align the rotoscale with this line and slightly roll it like this. Once you come to the next division point, just draw a line parallel to that. Okay. So basically what you are doing is you are drawing lines parallel to the line that is obtained from the remaining division points using your rotoscale. Okay. So just go on drawing lines parallel to the first line that you have got. All these lines are parallel to each other. Okay, you have done it using a rotoscale. Now, wherever it intersects the main line, you can mark the division points on that, and you can also name them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the main line will be divided into 6 equal parts. So this is how you complete this exercise. Once you complete the exercise, this is the only line that should appear dominating on your drawing sheet or on your sketchbook. Of course, you can easily show the difference in the thickness when you use a software because you are varying the thickness 0.5 and 0.13. That difference can be easily reflected in your when you use a software. But what is important is how do you show the difference in thickness when you do it manually is important. Okay. Now, when you use your software, you can measure the distance between these 2 points. Okay. So you have a command there to measure. You have what is called as distance between. You can use that command and measure the distance between 2 points. That will come to 11.67. This distance 70 by 6 is approximately 11.67. Now the software that we are using has an accuracy of 0.01 mm or the least count of 0.01 mm. So the length when you measure, it can be shown up to 2 decimal places. So you can show it as 11.67 but not beyond that. Okay, 0.01 mm is the least count. So when you measure this, it should come to 11.67. You have to check it when you complete the exercise when you are doing the drafting. You have to check it. It has to be 11.67. It can't be even 11.66 also. If it is 11.66, that means you have done a mistake. Okay. Manually you can't do that. Manually you can't check it. Just do the construction and leave it. With your naked eye, you will be able to whatever. If you are happy that it is done properly, just leave it. You can't measure it, okay, because it is a fraction. But when you do it using your system, you need to check it. 11.67 between any 2 points selected. So that's it about this exercise. I'll come back and complete the remaining exercises. Okay students, let us take up the next exercise. The next exercise is to draw a right angle triangle. So you know how to draw a right angle triangle. These two are at 90 degrees. And this is the hypotenuse. So this you know how to draw. You can use your scale and pencil to draw this. Make sure this angle is 90 degrees. Now let us dimension this. So the exercise, this particular exercise will be a practice for you to do the dimensioning as well. Okay. So I am going to dimension this horizontal line. So you know the procedure. Starting from the tip, you draw two extension lines and then you draw the dimension line parallel to the main line. Okay. And then put two arrowheads. Don't put two big arrowheads. This is enough. This size is enough. Let us say this is 40 mm length. So I have just written 40. This is how you dimension a horizontal line. But if you want to dimension the vertical line, the first thing is you will draw two extension lines parallel to the, perpendicular to the main line. These are the extension lines. Make sure the extension lines are made thin. Then dimension line. The dimension line will be made vertical now, parallel to the main line, and this is how you make the arrowheads. Now writing 40, how should the 40 be written? This is how you should write. That's important. Okay. So when you make a continuous vertical dimension line, the 40 has to be written only like this, not like this. Okay. So look at the orientation. And also make sure the gap is minimum 5 mm between the main line and the dimension line. The hypotenuse will be some fraction when you measure it. The length of the hypotenuse is a fraction, so you don't have to dimension that. Just dimension these two. Okay. So this is how you do it manually. Now going to the next exercise. Let us say I want to draw the same right angle triangle in a different position. The different position is this. I want to have the hypotenuse vertical this time. In this position, the hypotenuse is inclined to the horizontal. Okay. So when I draw the next sketch, I want to draw the same sketch. I want to reproduce it as it is here, changing its position. What is the position? I want it with the hypotenuse vertical, perpendicular. Okay. So you can imagine that this triangle is being rotated like this. About this point, this is the center of rotation. About this point, the polygon is being rotated, and the rotation is continued till you get the hypotenuse vertical. Then you stop it and draw there. So how to do it? First, you can use your compass and measure this hypotenuse. Okay. You are going to use compass, not scale, because it is a fraction. If you measure it with scale, you may not get it properly. So I want you to use compass, drawing compass, measure this distance. Okay. So keep that ready with you. Now, using your scale, you draw a vertical line, a thin vertical line. So you will draw it using your scale and pencil. This is drawn vertical. It's a thin line. Now whatever measurement you have taken with your compass, that will be transferred here. So this is the length of the hypotenuse. Once you get these 2 points, okay, you are again going to use the compass. Okay. Now you are required to do these two sides 40 each. So take this point as center, 40 mm as radius. You will draw an arc here. It will be drawn thin. Now this is the center, again 40 mm radius. You will draw another arc to cut that arc so that you get the apex. Okay. Once you get the apex, you can just connect the lines using dark lines. Now this line also can be made dark. So this angle is 90 now. The same triangle I have drawn here in a different position, that's all. I have not changed the dimensions at all. Now once again you need to do the dimensioning for these two edges. How do you do the dimensioning? If this is the main line, what is the procedure that was told to you? First you need to draw extension lines, and the extension line should be perpendicular to the main line. The angle should be 90, and then you draw a dimension line parallel to the main line like this. This is 40. Similarly here, you choose the two tips of the line. At each tip you are going to draw perpendiculars to the main line using your protractor. Mark 90 degrees at this point and also at this point. Then you draw extension lines. Extension lines will be perpendicular to the main line, and then draw the dimension line parallel to the main line. Make sure the dimension line is drawn parallel to the main line, and you can write 40 here. Okay, let's continue with the next exercise. Now the next exercise is drawing the same triangle with the hypotenuse horizontal. So you can imagine that this triangle is being rotated in clockwise direction about this point. So this is the center of rotation now. This point is the center of rotation. So this triangle is being rotated, and the rotation will continue till the hypotenuse is made horizontal. So that is the position of the triangle in the next sketch. So we will start by drawing a thin line first. Okay. You know what is the length of the hypotenuse. This is the length of the hypotenuse. So you take it using a compass, drawing compass, and mark it here. Okay. Then you are going to draw two arcs, once with this point as center and the other with this point as center, the radius being 40 each. Okay. Once you get the apex, mark it. The intersection of the two arcs will be the apex, and then connect to complete the triangle. Make sure all the three edges are shown dark. Then complete the dimensioning part. If you want to dimension this, align your using the protractor, you can draw these extension lines and then dimension it. The dimension line has to be parallel to the main line. You can write 40. Similarly for this. So three different triangles, the same triangle in three different positions. Okay. Now let me tell you how do you do it using the software. Okay. See, you will appreciate the advantage of using the software here. Manually I had to draw all the three triangles separately, but when it comes to using the software, you have two commands called move and rotate. Move is one command, the other command is called rotate. These are the two commands that you use very frequently when you do your drafting. So what you do is, you select this polygon, use the command move, and then you can just move it here. If you want to have a number of copies, multiple copies, you have an option. When you are using the move command, you have an option to choose between a single copy and a multiple copy. Okay. when you select a single copy, this will just be, copied here, but this will also go. When you select single copy, this will not be there. So when you select multiple copies, you can place one here, the other here. Okay. So any number of copies you can move to the required position. Okay. You will be taught in the lab how to execute that move command. So this will be moved here. Once it is moved here using the move command, then you go to rotate command. When you are using the rotate command, this point you will select as the center of rotation. Okay. You have an option to select the center of rotation, and then it will be rotated to the given position. You will get this within no time. Okay. Only thing, you have to do the dimensioning separately. Dimensioning has to be done. Okay. These dimensions you can't use. When you are selecting the polygon, only the polygon has to be selected. Only 3 edges will be selected, not the dimensions. Okay. So that will be moved here and then rotated to the required position. You will just do the dimensioning. Similarly, this one. So these two figures you are not drawing, you are just executing two commands called move and rotate when you use software. Okay, this is the difference. Now let us take up the next polygon, which is a square. You know how to draw a regular square. Let us say the side of the square is 40. So this is a regular square. Now it is just enough if you show the dimension for one edge. That's enough. You don't have to show the dimension for all the edges. I can show it like this: square 40. When you go for the dimensioning is done using a command called smart dimension. So when you go to smart dimension, you have an option to choose the prefix. This is the prefix, a square block. Okay. So you can choose it. Once you choose it, it will come as a prefix here. So that's how you do the dimensioning here. You can also draw the dimensions, the diagonals of the square just to identify the center. Okay. How do you draw the diagonals? Just connect the opposite corners so that you get the center. But make sure the diagonals are drawn thin. Imagine that this is a plate, a square plate. Okay, I want to identify its center, so I have just connected the diagonals to find the center. Make sure the diagonals are made light. So this is the first square. Now the next one, I want to have a square with two edges equally inclined to the horizontal. When I say two edges equally inclined to the horizontal in a square, they should be inclined at 45 degrees. Okay. So I am going to start, I am drawing the next sketch. I am going to start with two edges inclined at 45 degrees to the horizontal. So this is inclined at 45. This is also inclined at 45. So these two angles are 45 each. So this you can do. You have to use a protractor, a pencil and a scale as well. Using those two instruments you can get these two lines. Then you measure these two 40 each. Okay. Now once you finish this pair of lines, you can get the remaining two lines, the next pair. Okay. Either you can use a protractor or you can use compass. If you use a protractor, what you do? Go here, mark 90 degrees, then draw a line perpendicular to this. Again go here, mark 90 degrees, draw a line perpendicular to this. Okay? Then you can erase the remaining lines. Okay. So this is how you complete this square. So anywhere when you measure the angle at any corner, it should be 90 degrees. Now when you draw the diagonals, one will be horizontal, the other will be vertical. Okay. Now dimensioning you can do for any one edge. Square 40. That's it. Now the next one. Let us say I want to have, or I want to draw a square with one of the sides inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. Okay, this side here it is inclined at 45. I want to make this side inclined at 30. So I just want to rotate it in this direction about this point, so that it is rotated by another 15 degrees. Once you rotate it by 15 degrees, the edge will be inclined at 30. Now how to do it manually? This is a horizontal line, which is a thin line. Mark a point on it. Now draw the line using your protractor inclined at 30 degrees. Let us say the length is once again 40 mm. Now with this as one of the edges, you must complete this square. So how to do that? Use your protractor once again. At each of these points, mark 90 degrees. You are going to draw perpendiculars. Okay, again each of them is equal to 40 mm and then connect these two. Now when you draw the diagonals, they will be inclined. They are no more horizontal and vertical now. These are the positions of the diagonals and this is the center. You can mark the dimension for one of the edges. Instead of marking it as a block, it is sometimes written as SQ. So the prefix you can choose as SQ, or you can type also the prefix, whatever you want. So SQ40 stands for square 40. Let us move to the next exercise.